Billion-dollar baby has been abandoned for 5 years and now a soaring symbol of urban blight.
In downtown LA, a tower sits unfinished and abandoned. What was supposed to become a 5-star hotel and condos is now covered with graffiti. So, the question we are going to answer in this video is, how does a billion-dollar luxury skyscraper, right next to one of the most famous arenas in the world, turn into a 50-story canvas for vandals? And what plans does the city of Los Angeles have for this 1.2 billion graffiti towers? Let's get into it. Let's rewind to 2014. China is booming, and Chinese developers are looking to buy up real estate in New York, Vancouver, Sydney, and yes, Los Angeles. One of those developers is Oceanwide Holdings, a Beijing-based real estate giant. And they've got their eye on one of the most prime real estate downtown LA, which is a full city block, right across the street from the arena where the Lakers play. The plan was breathtaking, honestly. Tower 1 was designed to feature a 184-room, 5-star Park Hyatt hotel and 164 Park Hyatt-serviced condo residences. It would reach a height of 675 feet with 49 floors. Towers 2 and 3 were designed to have 504 residential condominiums, reaching 530 feet across 40 floors. That's over 500 luxury units. A world-class hotel. Construction began in 2015 and was originally scheduled to be completed by early 2019. For a few years, it looked like the dream was actually happening. Then everything went wrong.
As the clock is ticking on the Chinese developer to step up and do what needs to be done.
What time does the company have until Saturday?
Close of business day.
The close of business Saturday. City Councilman Kevin De Leon says that's the deadline for the Chinese corporation to do what needs to be done, or the city will move in and do it.
Here's the thing about building a $1.2 billion skyscraper in a foreign country. It only works if the money keeps flowing. And in China, around 2018 and 2019, the money stopped flowing. The Chinese government had grown deeply uncomfortable with how much cash its citizens and companies were shipping overseas. Billions of dollars were leaving the country every year, being poured into foreign real estate, foreign businesses, foreign anything. Beijing called it capital flight, and they moved hard to stop it. So, Oceanwide Holdings ran out of cash partly due to the Chinese Communist Party squeezing investment outside of China. In 2019, the company ran out of cash and stopped construction. What followed was years of slow-motion disaster. By January 29th, interior construction on the project was put on hold. The developer cited restructuring of capital and indicated work on the plaza would resume shortly. Contractor Lend-Lease suspended work until late March 2019, when it was announced that construction had resumed after 9 active liens had been filed by subcontractors totaling $98.6 million. And that was just the beginning. It got worse. In 2020, former Los Angeles City Council member Jose Huizar, who had represented the downtown area and chaired the council's planning committee, was arrested on charges that he had accepted bribes from several developers, including China Oceanwide, in exchange for allowing their projects to continue. So, now we've got a half-built billion-dollar tower and a corruption scandal attached to it. Great. By November 2022, even the cranes disappeared. The construction cranes were removed from the towers due to ongoing financial and legal issues, signaling further delays. That's when the neighborhood really started to notice.
We watched as one climbed through a hole in a fence. Apparently, with little concern, they were trespassing.
Okay, here's the part you actually clicked for. And honestly, this is where the story gets genuinely interesting. For years, the building sat behind chain-link fences and not much else. Security was light, and word travels fast in the graffiti community. In late December 2023, 3 taggers, Aqua, Sour, and Castle, broke into the tallest building and spray-painted their names across its floor-to-ceiling windows. Following the event, more members of LA's graffiti community began to participate throughout late January and early February 2024 in tagging the skyscrapers. Once it started, it couldn't be stopped. The building became a landmark. Hitting Oceanwide became a mark of credibility in the graffiti world. By mid-February, the number of tags and other graffiti pieces there were multiplying overnight. One artist, known as Endem, described it perfectly. It was an open house, people going in and out. It was beautiful. It was like graffiti paradise. It felt exactly like the streets, but concentrated. And you have to understand this wasn't just quick scribbles. People were climbing up unfinished floors in the dark, backpacks loaded with cans, tagging window frames and balcony facades dozens of stories up. Footage showed a completely untethered person stepping off what may be a balcony area, moving around a steel beam and onto the ledge, continuing to move across the entire side of the building, disappearing around the corner. Let me be clear, I am not endorsing trespassing. These people could have died. Some of them were risking their lives for a tag. But I'd be lying if I said watching that drone footage wasn't jaw-dropping. The graffiti went viral instantly. On February 5th, 2024, ex-user at Jake_Gotta tweeted, "Am I the only one who thinks it's sick as hell to have a graffiti skyscraper in downtown LA?" Gaining over 17,000 likes in 4 days. The Graffiti Towers made their global debut at that year's Grammy Awards, which were held right across the street. Cameras caught the tagged towers in the background. Millions of people around the world saw it. And then came the base jumpers. As base jumpers used the building for their stunts, a man even walked a tightrope between two of the towers. Another man got the tattoo of the infamous building on his back.
How am I going to leave my art piece on this? I'm going to set up a slack line from one building to the other and walk across it, and it'll be performance art.
A YouTuber named Reckless Ben managed to sneak past the site's security and filmed himself tightrope walking across the top of Graffiti Towers 2 and 3. LAPD launched a criminal investigation afterwards, and the video was removed from his YouTube channel. The tightrope remained between the two towers until September 2024. Meanwhile, LAPD Chief Michelle Moore told the Los Angeles City Council, "This has strained our deployment. We have called in some officers on an overtime basis so that we can provide for added patrols or station them at that site to deter vandals and others from gaining access." The city was spending real money on police overtime, extra fencing, and emergency security on a building it didn't own, for a developer that had already bailed. The Central City Association of Los Angeles released a statement saying they were disturbed by the images and called it a representation of the very real neglect that downtown Los Angeles has gone through over the past decade. At the same time, the People's City Council of Los Angeles had a very different take. Their statement ended simply, "The graffiti is beautiful, seize the towers." And look, I get both sides. Honestly, I do. The tagging was illegal. People could have been killed. Nearby businesses had to deal with the overflow. But there's also something deeply poetic about a billion-dollar luxury tower, meant for the ultra-rich, being reclaimed by the streets. The building was supposed to be about exclusion, and instead it became the most publicly shared building in LA. Now, let's talk about the money, because this is where it gets really painful. After China Oceanwide failed to pay its debts, the project was foreclosed on by June 2023 and listed for sale. China Oceanwide owed $157 million just to a group of EB5 lenders. Those are foreign investors who put money into the project in exchange for US visas. Lend-Lease, the construction contractor, filed claims in court that they should be first in line to be repaid. They also filed appeals claiming fraud and misrepresentation. So you've got unpaid contractors, unpaid visa investors, unpaid property taxes, a corruption scandal attached to the city councilman who approved the project, and a graffiti cleanup bill from the city. Under the eventual $470 million acquisition deal, $70 million was earmarked just to resolve outstanding debts, including back taxes. That's $70 million just to clear the debt before anyone picks up a single tool. And the cleanup? That's a separate nightmare. In early 2024, the council approved roughly $4 million to beef up barriers, bolster security, and remove graffiti if the developer failed to act. But then, in a move that pretty much sums up how this whole saga has gone, in early 2025, the city quietly decided not to spend taxpayer money to scrub the graffiti off the privately owned towers, citing a determination that it was not its responsibility to incur the costs of abatement on private property. The Hollywood. The graffiti is still visible on the towers as of April 2026. My personal opinion, this is governance failure on multiple levels. The city watched this building rot for years. It let a foreign developer walk away from a full city block in downtown LA with basically no consequences. And then when the bill came due, they passed.
Well, after years of controversy, downtown LA's so-called Graffiti Towers have brand new owners. Today, developers announced they purchased the towers.
Here's the thing that finally lit a fire under everyone. The Olympics are coming to Los Angeles in 2028, and the opening ceremony right across the street from the Graffiti Towers. Suddenly, city officials who had been pretty comfortable watching this mess unfold for 5 years started making phone calls, because there is no version of reality where LA hosts the world, and these towers are still standing there. The stalled project emerged as a major priority for Los Angeles ahead of the 2028 Olympic Games, which provided a much-needed sense of urgency. Lawyers for Oceanwide even leaned into the Olympics in their own bankruptcy filings, arguing that a prompt sale and eventual completion of the project is a major priority for the city and the public at large, particularly with the upcoming 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles.
The infamous Graffiti Towers in downtown Los Angeles now has a buyer.
And then, finally, in February 2026, a buyer stepped forward. A new buyer emerged in the KPC Group, owned by Kali P. Choudhury. The development firm reached an agreement with Lendlease, the original contractor for the project. The two filed their initial purchase agreement in federal bankruptcy court for $470 million. Choudhury said that removing the graffiti would be a first priority and plans to complete the project as it was originally created, with housing, a hotel, stores, and restaurants. He also reportedly said he intends to change the name of the complex. Smart move, honestly. Graffiti Towers is not a great name for luxury condos. And what's the total bill to finish all of this? After the $470 million purchase price, analysts expect it will cost at least another $1 billion to complete construction. So, we're talking about a project that will ultimately cost somewhere in the range of $1.5 billion by the time anyone actually moves in. But hey, at least someone is finally doing something. So, here's the question I keep coming back to. When they finally clean up those towers, what will we have lost? Because here's my honest take. Oceanwide Plaza, in its tagged, ruined, half-finished state, told more truth about Los Angeles than the finished building ever would have. The graffiti artists didn't just vandalize a building. They held up a mirror to a city that spent years letting a foreign billionaire's failed ego project rot in plain sight, while ordinary Angelenos had to walk past it every single day. What do you think? Should they have left the graffiti as a permanent installation, or is cleaning it up the right call? Let me know in the comments.